On Wells Fargo, we have some interesting price action happening here as far as the zones that we're looking at. And as you can see, the Elite software, which is our neural network piece of software, is saying down and trending. And if we look here on our chart, you can see that we are at the 4370 down to the 4171 weekly demand level. Now this weekly demand level reaches all the way back to 2013, so we're really close to that. Just a few ticks away from that 4340 level. Okay, and as we move over to daily, we can see the wonderful range that we have been moving in. And I think this is very, very interesting, but you can see this nice chocolate zone up here that has represented the top part of our range here for the past several months. Now, given that the trend is down and trending, we are looking at price hitting a new low and also bouncing off of this daily demand level that coincides with that weekly level that we were looking at as well. But it is touching the daily demand level and giving us nice fractal confluence of the demand zones. This level reaches from 43.91 down to 43.21. But if we're in a downtrend, do we want to be buying or selling this particular instrument? Well, we actually want to be selling it. And look at what's happened here on the daily time frame. We've soared in one day all the way up to the 45.33 level. You see over here. And looking at that 45.33 level, I think it's very, very important that we realize that, hey, this is brand new and fresh resistance or supply because we're on a daily zone, okay? And from a swing trading perspective, if we can short this, then this could be very, very interesting. Now, just with it touching the level, that's not a good time to short, but we need to wait for price action to confirm this level or confirm the level from 46.14 up to 46.20, and then do what we oughta and follow the trend to the downside and look at how it's going to retest this daily level as well as that big weekly level that we're talking about just a little bit before. Okay, so those are the two levels that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really looking to the short side on this particular instrument. If we look over here at the Twitter market, you can see that on the big weekly time frame here, we have a retest of fresh supply starting here at the 24.90 level up to 26.69. And lo and behold, prices just barely reached up into that zone and then boom. And it looks like we're going to come down here to retest weekly demand at the 1834 down to 1569. So that's the move that we're looking at, trying to keep it real simple and really understand why price is doing what it's doing here. So those are the important levels that I see happening here. Over here on the daily chart, technically on the daily chart, our trend is to the upside, but we can see from the weekly chart why price is doing what it is doing. And on the daily time frame, we have daily supply just a little bit higher up there, but price has really respected that weekly zone quite nicely and gave us quite the gap down here. All right, so it looks like we're going to be doing that from that weekly level. So keep that weekly level in mind. And as we move into like the 4-hour time frame, I think this is just super duper interesting here, folks. In the Globex session, when the big boys can play, they pushed it down, and then last night, and then they came back, and during their own little private session, they like cranked it right back up there and right back down again. Very, very interesting price action during the non-U.S. times as the big boys really came in and did this quite quickly. All right, so really hard for normal retail traders to get on board something like this, but I still think that there's more juice to the downside, so let's just see if that thing doesn't continue on even lower down to the weekly demand levels that we were looking at here. And this is a confluence at 1486. We can see where the 4-hour time frame is down there. Let's look at the daily confluence, 1815, as well as 1452 is the confluence of the daily zone. Okay, so we'll see if we can't run it all the way down to this area before price really does anything new. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and we will see you next week as we do our forecasts and wrap-ups.